Hello everyone. Okay, am I on? Can you hear me? Can you see me? As always, if you feel like asking a question in the live chat, make sure you highlight it with a bunch of emojis just so I can see it. Otherwise, chat away, guys. Keep it all respectful. Otherwise, YouTube polices it and your comment gets automatically taken off. So be nice. I know sometimes people get frustrated and use language depending on the subjects we're talking about, but try and control yourself. So, yeah, it's funny when people say evening, human. I just woke up, it's morning here. But evening, I get it. I think 2/3 of my audience is in the time zone where the sun's just gone down, or it's about time for bed, or past it. All right, starting my day now. Day's good, sunny, birds, all that cheesy feel-good BS. I busted my regular glasses. Look at this. I really like these and I broke them. They kind of don't... I suppose I still could wear them. They're a little bit lopsided and funky, but yeah, effort. Oh, wear these. See the I've taped them up. Anyway, it's not riveting content. Let's talk about my broken spectacles. All right. Yeah, the main discussion. I mean, look, you guys can ask me any questions you want. But yeah, primarily it's about one of the previous videos where I talked about women who feel empowered and get on a soapbox and they're proud of sleeping with a lot of guys, which takes no effort. It's like me being proud and bragging about beating 5-year-olds in a running race, or I don't know, something else. You know, being a fat person and being proud of, you know, eating a lot. I don't know, bad analogy, but you know what I mean. It comes easy to women. They can walk into any club or bar as long as you're a 1, but even a 1 can ask 10 guys to go home with her and she'll probably get 1 at least. So they're bragging about something that's almost like breathing. Thanks for the super chat, Key himself. I appreciate it. Yeah, Coltrane is alive, I think. He's just doing his own thing from what I've heard. I think he's fine. Don't forget, we have come through a lockdown here for about a year in Australia. What was I saying? Yeah, it's basically easy for women to God, this is stupid. It's basically easier for women, despite what they say, how unfair it is. They can't find a man. The fact is, you've got a lot of men to say yes or no to, whereas men really don't have anyone to say, not even to say yes or no to. We ask. It's like we're going around asking for a job, and until, you know, we get it rejected or we can't find a job, it's nerve-wracking until we get one. So anyway, Key himself said, a woman getting laid is like Shaq dunking a basketball. Yeah, she's women bragging about getting laid is Yeah, is like is like Shaq kind of talking down to the average guy and just saying, look, it's really easy. You just hop slightly and in it goes. And when people can't do it as easily or at all because you're 5 foot nothing, Shaq laughs at you and go, oh, men. Sav Samu Shaman says, the upside of not being able to sleep is catching human live for the first time. Kasana8 says, hey human, why do you think there is so much man bashing the last few months? You know what I think it is? See, it depends on what part of the world. It can be two ways. If you've had your lockdown, you haven't been able to date, then all of a sudden the gates go open. It's like the same old chick comes out, but with a fury. Like she's been pent up and now she's going to let out her frustrations. I don't know, because they're different parts of the world. I don't know what state of lockdown, but I think a lot of it has to do with what part of the world you're in and how restricted you are. But it kind of goes to show that when the party's over, there's no self-reflection for a lot of older women, middle-aged to older, where they don't like, the cliche, women don't like saying sorry. They don't like rejection. They don't like being shamed or humiliated. And so you come out ramping up your previous behavior. If you were, an awful person before, then you're just going to ramp up the awful person that you were. So, I think that's sort of what's going on. But I don't know. There is a lot, but also it just might be the algorithm, because it likes showing you a lot of videos that'll make you click and watch. So anything that'll provoke you, they'll show to you. So don't forget that too. It's not so much that it's naturally happening around the world. If we're sitting, especially if we're in lockdown, and this is the only thing we get to communicate with or watch, you'll say, oh, why is everyone so angry? Why are women hating men so much? Why are men hating women so much? It's what they want to show you. Provocation and that kind of material gets a lot of views, gets a lot of clicks. If you want to watch provocative material, that means they know where to serve ads for cornflakes and dating sites and that stupid, annoying, what's that woman who always comes up, after much of our videos? She's like a dating coach or something. The one that was putting on lipstick. You know what women really want? It's like, I don't care. Anyway. Peter says, isn't there a typo in the title? How many men she slept with? Is the number too low? Boffin says, what did I say to make her break my glasses? No, I can't wear these. Alright, these are shinier. I don't like them. But anyway. Okay. Mr. Highway says, the only thing that matters is what matters to you. True, but it's a very hard thing. It's a very hard thing to be comfortable having conversations with your own thoughts. The most comfortable state is for you to just sit in silence, observing the world, nature, and things like that, being entertained by something, absorbing and that kind of stuff, or absorbing another person. What a lot of guys are forced to do these days out of necessity, and I realize it's by necessity, is that the world is so effed and women are so hard now is that you have to have, if the relationships out there and the relationships with women are getting harder and harder and harder, you feel more comfortable in solitude and staying with the relationship that's more comfortable. It's not optimal, or it's not preferred, but the relationship with yourself. So without the noise, without the blaming and shaming and criticizing and you don't do this enough and I don't care about you anymore, it seems logical, and it is, to have a relationship with someone who does care about you, where it does make sense. You, this person, this guy, looking in the mirror. But that's hard. As human beings, it's a very hard thing to do. You, for one, have to be philosophically interested in that way, and most people aren't. So it's a kind of hard psychological trick, because it's not something you can do like move this cup over here. It's think this way, no matter how hard it is. It's like you're being asked to become a physicist or something, if you know what I mean. So it's very hard. It's the right thing to do. Come to terms with yourself, but it's not easy. The description is, the practice isn't. Griffin, hello from the Netherlands. Hello, Griffin. Hello, everyone. I don't know what's happening in the UK at the moment, guys. I don't pay much attention to the news. Max says, there's a phrase I've heard in the manosphere, the man is the prize. Thoughts? Biologically, no. The woman's the prize. Sorry. And I'm not saying you should sort of bow down to women, but when the manosphere says the man is a prize, it's a way of gaining some self-respect, because you're the more capable one, you're more self-sufficient. A woman needs a man much more than a man needs a woman. That's why the old 60s, 70s feminist saying was a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle. They're trying to self-determine. They're trying to say, look, have some autonomy, have some freedom. Yeah, men are nice, relationships are nice, but don't be put down. Don't be a doormat. You have a life to live. Have some self-respect. Value yourself as a person. So I get that, what the first wave was on about. And so what the manosphere says is, man is a prize is a similar thing. Have some self-respect. So that's where that's coming from. Which isn't wrong, you know. Biologically, the woman's a prize. But if you've come to terms with and honestly don't want anything to do with women, you're the prize. Yeah. I mean, it's the reason we're here. We're here to reproduce. That's the basic reason where human beings exist, is to propagate. Mr. Smith says, does the war bride syndrome account for some of the rampant promiscuity and callous disregard of ethics? Also, a lot of kids are growing up with only one parent, and the parent they're growing up with is the mother, who's trying to survive. Now she's trying to do the job that the husband would have done, which is be a breadwinner, as well as try and be a good parent. She can't do both full-time jobs. She's going to be a lesser parent, a lesser worker. The kid's going to be raised by TV and the streets and whatever. So the parent has less influence because they're not around the child as much. Just a lot of Practical factors like that, I think. So there's a lot that goes into it. Don't know about the war bride syndrome. That might account for some of it, but I think the way kids are raised is the biggest problem. Mr. Highway, thanks for the super chat, man. I appreciate it. He says, the more partners a girl has, the less she can pair bond. The less partners a male has, the less he can pair bond. He becomes unable to think for two. Yeah, that's an interesting point of view. He becomes the more women he's had, he becomes more experienced in always considering another person. Women by nature don't. They're very solipsistic by nature. Want to be taken care of. It's always about them. They're always in a state of passivity, always being needy. They rarely, if ever, approach men. They don't ever get what they want. They sit around waiting for things. I don't know how sometimes I have sympathy for women in the regard of I don't know what it'd be like to be a woman, because I could never be like that. Never want to be a female. Sitting there, not doing what you want, not getting what you desperately would like, not asking and talking the way you want. And I'm not talking roughly and like, fist pumping girl power. It's kind of like just asking for what you want. And sure, they can kind of complain about, well, society teaches us. Yeah, society teaches men too. It's the stuff I'm talking about. Yeah, society teaches you and gives you a certain script. Be a workhorse and do what you're supposed to do. But at some point, when you realize what's what, and a lot of these women realize what's what, guess what, sweet cheeks? You have to sort of, put on your big girl skirt and try and be responsible for your life, just like guys are trying to do now. But yeah, the more partners a woman has, I've noticed this too. When I've had girlfriends, there were much less trouble in terms of naturally a guy and a girl getting along. The less partners she had, the more partners she had, it was very difficult. She was so independent. It was like she was always off in the distance. They're so used to being on the move and being in relationships and moving on. Whereas a guy, if he falls for a woman, more or less he's locked in. Now, women kind of say, well, it gets boring because he gets complacent. But most guys aren't going anywhere. Guys have to put in effort to get women. If you notice your guys like putting in effort to sort of go around picking up women, that's one thing. But women, when they step out the door, they get approached if they're an average woman. So a woman can get full of herself a lot easier than a man because it's easy to. She loves attention and she gets it a lot easier than men. I mean, all human beings like attention, I suppose, but a man has to work for it and do a lot of superficial stuff. And some of it's not. Some of it's natural human stuff, like approaching someone, saying hello and being friendly and making the conversation good and feel good. But yeah, I've noticed that too. The more partners a woman has, that becomes her default state. I suppose you could argue that a man's state becomes that too. But it's more common you hear when a woman catches a man, or she's the one who locks him in and takes him out of the dating pool, and it's very unlikely for him to go back if they have a happy and good relationship. But a woman always loves attention from men and may act on it. Again, I'm generalizing, I know, but generalizations have some merit. They're there for a reason. Stereotypes are there for a reason, most of them, that tend to be respected or not talked about like jokes. The people that get annoyed at them is they're annoyed that stereotype still exists in a big way. Like women get annoyed when you stereotype women accurately because they're not like that. Well, it's kind of like, well, the sisters need to talk to each other a bit more and en masse start changing their behavior. Hydrostatic. What do you think about the alpha widow phenomenon? No idea. Don't know exactly what that is. I know what the terms are, alpha and widow, but what, the really good-looking, confident widow that goes around sleeping around? I'm not sure. Eclectic Tyrone says, does it really matter how many men she slept with? No. Look, if you don't care, especially, look, I'm talking generally. A lot of guys misunderstand me. If I'm in my video talking just about me, you'll know. But generally what I talk about is the middle of the bell curve, what most guys are like, what the human race generally wants and how it acts. Most men want to have children. I don't. But I talk from the viewpoint of the general man, and I insert myself sometimes where I differentiate from that. So when I talk about most men don't want to turn a stripper into a housewife, it's just a general accurate observation. When a man wants to get serious, he picks someone who doesn't seem like there's little chance of that working out, or there's going to be a lot of problems with this person. So I mean, if you really want a meaningful life, a family, peace, quiet, stability, all that stuff, you don't pick, the chaos and the dumpster fire of a single mother stripper or a pole dancer or something. It's just like, it's common sense. Just as though you tell a woman not to pick a criminal or a stripper or something. Oh, I don't know. It's just common sense. You pick a more decent, grounded person that you can see through their character and what they do and who they are in their lives, their morals and their ethics, that they've got more chance of being a good father or being a good mother. So it doesn't matter if, say for instance, me personally, again, look, this is the thing. People sometimes can't be objective and step outside themselves and look at the landscape and go, okay, yeah, let's describe the landscape. Sure, let me give you my point of view in reference to the landscape. We can have a conversation like that. But not everything I say needs to be offensive to somebody because, oh, I'm not like that. Human's wrong. It's like, I might be. From my situation, I'm not. So, for instance, I don't care too much how many men a woman has slept with. Because I don't want to have kids, I don't want to have a family, and I don't go out with a lot of women who don't have a character and a personality that matches with me. So it already eliminates, like, a lot of those bimbos and airheads who don't respect themselves, whether it's physically or even the people they just simply hang around and how they want to live. I don't hang around, let alone date women who've been so promiscuous that the numbers of people they've slept with goes into the thousands, just by dint of the character of a person that I associate with. Do you kind of get what I mean? The best revenge is a life well lived. Yep. Women don't care though, but you need to be okay with it, because some guys think, yeah, I'm going to have a great life and that's the best revenge, but you're still sort of wanting them to feel bad now because you've moved on with your life. You're still referencing them mentally as a calibrating point to sort of move forward, or a barometer for your success or happiness. Women don't care. Some guys have this fantasy, and I've done this too. I'm not going to say I didn't, where you're doing well now. You've moved on. You're happy. You've got a lot of good things in your life, and you can tell by your posture and how you are. And people tell you that, and you think, oh, it'd be great if I met my ex, and then she could see, and she feels sorry, like, oh, she let him go. It's like, she doesn't care. She might for a split second, if you're lucky. Are you going to spend all your life trying to build yourself up to a state that she feels bad about leaving you or the relationship being over or the way she treated you just for that little moment. And then say you get it, then afterward it's okay, I got that, now what? Do I really value everything I have now? It's a very poor and shallow way to motivate yourself. What if you see and she doesn't give a crap? Which is most likely. Women don't care once they move on. A lot of guys lament and think more about their past relationships than women do. Which is why I think women, they're much better at moving forward as a creature than men do. Men spend a lot of time in regret in the past. Probably because we are alone and we're more self-sufficient and we work better being more autonomous. So we have to learn from our past, our mistakes, to go forward. Women don't necessarily have to learn from their past. They've always got a soft pillow to land on in the form of another man, in the form of government, blah, 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 blah. So legally, structurally, socially, a woman doesn't have to care as much as for a guy. A woman generally has a parasocial relationship when it comes to dating. That is, it's basically her way or no way. She's the one that says yes to the man. A guy's the one that says yes to a relationship, but a woman's the one who says yes overall to whether or not you get her or spend time with her. It's about the only power a man really has is he's the one that says yes to a relationship. Bear that in mind. Okay. Am I in the middle of the frame? Raf, thank you very much for this super chat. He says, do I suffer from depression? No. From what I've read and from what of people I've talked to who have been diagnosed, who clearly you can see they do suffer from that. No. I get sad. I do get sad. I have my days. I have my grey days, my down days, but no, I don't suffer from depression. Ricky, thank you very much for the super chat. He says, women are being pulled to the left and men are being pulled to the right. It's funny, when a woman sort of, a lot of women who get married or are lucky enough to get married these days, a lot of them become more right-leaning, a lot more right-leaning, because now their lives benefit from being more right-leaning. Yeah, Fortis Atticus says, promiscuity is a dead-end street. It's great for having some fun. It's like in your 20s, it's the thing, if you try and make your whole life about a lifestyle that's in your 20s, at midlife you start seeing it fade away and you don't want to admit it to yourself because you don't know anything else. You refuse for the party to be over. It's like being in the middle of the dance floor and still dancing away while they've switched the lights on and the cleaners have come and they're sweeping up. But I want to dance. Lady, the music stopped a while ago. Hello from Spain. Mr. TV says, when is Karu coming on, human? How did you know about that? I'm planning a chat with Karu coming up. People have been talking. Happy Friday. It's a Saturday morning for me. Danny is explaining alpha widow. It means she's had an alpha and now sleeps around looking for another one, but pines for the one that got away. Okay, now I know what it means. Thank you for explaining it to me. Yeah, basically it's kind of like when you've been a rock star and then your fame is over, that pocket of time, you had your moment. And now you keep searching for the same thing. Nick says, short answer, yes. Long answer, yes. Thanks for the super chat, Nick. I think that's for the question. Does it really matter how many men she slept with? I think it's kind of, it goes back to, it's so easy for women, and it's not something to brag about. So if a guy was bragging about something that was very, very easy for him and wanting to be patted on the back, it would kind of be a bad character. It'd be like, that guy, the guy who brags about that, the guy who thinks he's great because of A, B, and C, that guy. People don't like them socially, and for sure as heck you don't like sort of being with them because you know what they've done a lot of, and what they've done a lot of you find embarrassing. So, I don't know. All I know is it's very biological. It's also connected to the fact that a guy in his biology doesn't know because the procreative act is not just supposed to be fun, but it's fun to get you to do it so you can reproduce and have kids. So the more promiscuous a woman is, a man feels unsure whether she's out there doing it with other guys. So if you have a kid, you don't know if it's yours. I think that's where the mistrust from guys comes from, because he doesn't know if the child is his. And she's the one that knows if it's her. It's always going to be her child if she has it. A man never knows. So that insecurity comes from that. So the more a woman sleeps around, her baseline is, I'm the chick that sleeps around, this is what I'm good at, and I get all my attention and I get validated by all this attention of sleeping around and having a lot of partners. I'm the girl that gets noticed, gets talked about, gets attention, validated, all that stuff. And then all of a sudden you're kind of thinking, if she's that kind of girl, what's going to make her stop? Logic says it's like not much is going to make her stop at all. And then again, if she gets pregnant, is it mine? Because I know what kind of girl she is. T. Zamrick says alpha widow is a woman that got pumped and dumped by an alpha. A woman who's sort of treated badly by a guy, and because she thinks she got that guy, anything less is probably unacceptable. Yeah, a lot of these women, they can get the alpha for a night. An alpha will sleep with them, but they mistake that like, I got him so that I can get them, even if it was for a short amount of time. So I'm not accepting anything less. But it's like me saying, well, I can drive a Ferrari. Yeah, I can go and rent one for a day. But I'm not delusional enough to kind of know who I am in my life and know like I can't get and keep a Ferrari. It's not my life. It's not what I want to do anyway, but do you know what I mean? Maybe it's not a perfect analogy, but kind of like that. But I want him. I think this the big difference between men and women is like both men and women say like I want this, but because a man has to work at it, he gets more a realistic structure of like, oh, this is what it takes. Am I prepared to work my ass off to have a Ferrari and that life? Do I want it that much? Is that me as a person? Do I get off on the way I earn money to be able to have that car? Do I really like it? So reality gets baked in. Whereas with a woman, it's just, I want it because she's used to being passive and having it come to her. So once it's in that passive state, if you've had it, you might want it again. But because you don't have to work for it, you get frustrated, like, I just want it again. So if you're sitting back and your whole life is a passive cycle of, I love the stuff that comes to me. And so when you're young and pretty, you get a lot of good stuff coming to you. Then later on, you get worse and worse and worse stuff come from you. But you don't want to change your mode and say, well, if you want better stuff, you actually have to get off your backside and take some action and suffer risk and rejection. And no, I don't want to do that. I want it easy, like I've been used to. Well, you can't have it easy. In a lot of ways that men say had a lot of stuff that was easier because of their physical capabilities. You know, you're young, virile, agile, sports, things like that. And later on, you have to adjust as a guy. So there's always an adjustment period the older you get, physically, cognitively, and it plays into socially too. But people that don't want to try, like, I've gotten used to acting and being a certain way in my teens and 20s, and I don't want to change because this is who I am, man. I can't change the core of my being. Well, when you relate to other people, you have to. Sorry. You have to adjust. You have to evolve. Life, deal with it. JJ says, if it wasn't for daddy issues, there would be 80% less strippers out there. I agree, man. Really. You even look in the PORN industry. There's just a massive amount of, I think like 2/3 of them are girls from very strict, broken, ultra strict religious families. And it's basically, once they left, they just went wild. So how you're affected as a kid has a massive effect on your reflexes as an adult. And sometimes you will get frustrated and you won't know why. It's like, I've talked about myself as well. Why with relationships does it seem that my friends find it very easy and they're calm about certain situations, but for me it frustrates me? Or I stay longer than I should, or I pick women in retrospect I should know better. And not to blame your past, but understanding your past can actually fill in a lot of blanks to help you make better decisions going forward. So, for instance, I have a close friend who has certain issues when it comes to women about because his mother left him when he was almost a baby. And you can really see, you know, sometimes I think, well, I've got certain issues with women in my past. And I found A, B, and C hard, but he's got really, really obvious ones where he can't let a woman leave him. He's a confident person in life, but when it comes to women, he is a toddler. He cannot let mummy leave him. It's soul destroying. He will bend over backwards for a woman. He will debase himself to a degree that's embarrassing as a friend. You have to kind of tell him, and he knows, but he can't help himself. And he says he doesn't like it about himself, that he lets women walk all over him, but it's like an addiction. But yeah, daddy issues. A lot of them. Mr. TV, when is Karu going to be on? Soon. We're planning on doing a chat together, and I'll put it up on my channel in the next week or two. Whenever we do it, we've already discussing a topic, which is good. Bando says, I can't bring myself to even kiss a woman who has slept around. It repulses me not from a moral standpoint. It's just instinctive. Yeah, sometimes it's just you instinctively you detest a certain thing. I'm a fairly creative and broad-minded person, but and when someone says, "Oh, well, maybe this," or sometimes I ask myself the question, let me see, let me try this out. Let me see if I like this. If I don't like it, do I like chocolate milk? Do I like coffee? Do I, you give it a shot. You don't like it, and I remember in my 20s when I went out with some friends, and we went to a gay bar, and a guy tried to pick me up, just even approaching me. He didn't even put his hands on me or anything, but I just knew, it's like, I'm straight, man. I just felt the hairs on my back stand up. So a lot of times these things are instinctual. Like if a man doesn't like a woman who slept around, it's just biology. Because don't forget, with pair bonding, there needs to be trust to stay around, that the kid's yours, all that kind of comforting, stable stuff that helps, from a guy's point of view, helps him go out into the world, work, build a life together, and know that his kid's his, and stays with him as his. If he can't trust the woman that it's his child, or that she'll stick around because she wants to go to another man, because a promiscuous woman is just going around with different men. So if you're with a woman, you think you're just another guy. Again, she's not yours, it's just your turn. And if women are acting like that and being proud of it, then every woman you get with, you've got the irrational mode and thinking of, it's my turn. Why would I start a life with this person if it's just my turn? Why would I set my relationship with her in permanent long-term mode when the reality is it's most likely temporary mode right now? So temporary right now mode is have fun. I don't care about you. I'm not going to protect you. I don't love you, because if I can't respect you, I can't love you. Because if you're always in the mode of musical chairs with men, and I'm one of those chairs, then why would I look? The preponderance of men having vasectomies, just men and women don't trust each other anymore. And if women are bragging about all the guys they sleep with, and they're just saying, well, I should still be respected because I'm just, it's a sport. It's me spiritually finding myself physically, It's like, no, we don't trust you. We trust you less than we did yesterday, because now you're bragging about playing musical chairs. Cold Steel says, I think what really matters is how much genuine desire she has. Women are attracted to leaders. The more a man requires of a woman in the present, the more she'll be willing to give. I think I mentioned it. I said in one or two videos, have some needs, guys. I know it's not seen as masculine to be needy, but that's a trap you can have. If you just get with women and saying, like, I'm not needy, and that's masculine, and so basically she doesn't have to give or show that she has any virtue or that she likes you in any way, and you're proud of, like, I don't need a woman, I don't need affection, I don't need her to do anything for me, to have any values or anything. I can take the load of everything. Look how a big, strong man I am. It's like, it's not the right way to go. It's not that you're needy, that you need her like mummy, but you make her you have some needs, and you let her know that she has to, you have needs that she needs to give as well as you giving needs to things that she needs too. It's a one-way street when you think about it. Like, I'll be a big stoic male that has no needs and is self-sufficient, and a woman loves it. You're not getting anything back. It's a one-way street. It's just you giving to her, and she doesn't give anything back to you. And if you're saying, well, that's what a man needs, I don't need anything, it's like, you don't feel loved because you're not getting anything. And a woman doesn't feel loved because she needs to give too. Genuine love and affection, you look at your family, friends, whether it's platonic or romantic, that tennis match of give and take is where the bond forms. If it's a one-way street, if you frame modern relationships as, I'm this stoic, tough guy, this slab of granite that doesn't need anything, and women love it, it's like your cold piece of unfeeling nothing. whereas she keeps receiving things. So momentarily she'll feel good, and momentarily you'll feel good about not being anything. You're a caricature of this cold Superman, and she's a caricature of some sort of Bambi. I don't know. It doesn't work. It's got to be two human beings playing emotional tennis of give and take. She's got needs, you've got needs, and you both give each other the needs you want, and you want to feel from the other person, and within the relationship too. Victor says, single mums are made by women choosing Chads over dads due to their biology, but Chad has options and won't settle until he's 40. Yeah, like I said, most women can get Chad for a night or as a woman in his rotation, but they think that, oh, one day I'll get him. The optimism of youth. It's the same as young people when they say, you tell them, look, when I went to, you go to art class when you're young, and the teacher will say, look, out of this class of 30, 1 or 2 of you will be able to make a living from this. The rest of you will be disappointed. And every person is thinking, oh, that 1 or 2 is going to be me. I'll do it. I'll defy the odds. And every woman thinks she'll defy the odds and she'll get Chad. And she won't even look in the mirror. She won't look if her looks match Chad, if her confidence is a compliment to Chad, if the personalities match, what other options he has, because he's going to go for a top tier woman. And if you don't look at yourself realistically, if you're a 2, and with makeup and clothes, you can get Chad at the end of the night or drunk to sort of pick you because there's nothing else around, and you think, well, now I'm an 8. It's like, no, you're not. Dynamite Rabbit says, thank you very much for the super chat. He says, it's simple. Go to the petting zoo. The women holding the koalas are shallow hoes. The ones who prefer the wombats are okay. Is that because they don't hold the wombats? Although, that's a weird one, because wombats also have sharp claws. When you hold them, you've got to be careful, as well as koalas. But I suppose in terms of the fluffy, popular little cuddly toy, a wombat is a bit more masculine, I think. They're both pretty savage in terms of their claws, though. I suppose wombats are more masculine than koalas. Koalas have syphilis as well, and I don't think wombats do. This is another point too. Motopunk says she's dated a couple of guys while she's sleeping with several guys from Tinder, and when her ex came back, she told him that she hadn't had another guy since they broke up. Yeah, a lot of women can compartmentalize. Like, if they fool around, it's not really dating. I've only been, as in what I consider serious. People don't look in and of itself at the term. Like, I've even heard people promising things, and then you call them out and you'll say, well, you promised this. It's like, no, but look who I promised. My promises only mean something to good people. So, this is what I mean about don't trust what someone says. Trust how they act, especially with women, because women have a lot of places to hide. Don't forget, their nature is very passive. They don't go out in a tactile, haptic sense and grab hold of the world. They want the world to come to them. They want men to come to them and ask them. They want to be given flowers. They want, like, things have to come to them. And so, being passive, women have a way of comfortably convincing themselves and twisting reality around. Men can't. Man can't lie about his reality, otherwise he's homeless. He has to realize when he needs to smarten up or work harder, because no one's going to be there for him to lean on in his delusions. He has to be realistic. A woman doesn't. So a woman's brain, that's why men get frustrated when they'll break up or their wife takes their kids And her and her friends and everyone else will say, well, I had to leave him and cheat on him because, you know, he wasn't there. I needed love. And people will nod and go, oh, yeah, you poor girl. It's like, what? Whereas a man can't make that excuse. If a man cheated, it's like, yeah, I screwed up. Dude, what did you do? Ah, yeah, I effed up. Don't do it again. Yeah, you were at fault. But a woman's at fault. It's like, no, you weren't really at fault, because the biological organism in a woman's kind of trying to survive. And the other women, who are females as well, they realize that they don't want to be called out on their behavior next time or now. And so they'll keep this lie going. Yeah, we're all innocent. We have to be innocent because we have to remain passive and selectable by men. Let's keep marketing ourselves as pristine, perfect women that everyone wants, because we have to market ourselves as something that everyone wants. We can't admit fault, because then we're going to be thrown on the trash heap. No one will want something on the trash. Keep marketing yourself as a woman who hasn't had any partners or hasn't had many, because then you're a car on the parking lot. It's kind of like a car salesman not telling you that it's been in an accident because they want to sell the car. Kiva says the best thing to do is do things to live a better life with or without a woman. I agree. Scott says there are never any consequences for women. In today's day and age, much, much less, approaching none, compared to your forefathers' day. JJ says, women only care sometimes if he was a high-value alpha with lots of money, probably because of the money. True. Sheepdog Alpha says, when a woman says you can't get laid, she's basically saying, I only have sex to offer and nothing else. Pretty much. That's actually a really good point. When women make jokes of you can't get laid, but they get laid a lot. That's their world. If that comes to their mind, that's a good point, actually. Michael says, stats say men take a year to get over a relationship. I'm assuming you mean a serious one, where women take 2 months. When I read that, I was shocked, but I've seen it many times. I've experienced it myself a couple of times. Women find love quickly. Whereas if a man finds love really quickly, he's heartless. You see it in news headlines. You see two celebrities. If they break up and the guy's in the arms of another woman, the headline will be, say for instance with Angelina and Brad, right? Let's use them as an example. Whether or not that happened, I don't know. But after they broke up, if the headlines, if Brad's with a girl, it's like love rat Brad moves on with blah, like he's portrayed in a bad way. If after the same amount of time, if Angelina is in the arms of someone else, it's Angelina finds love again. Same thing, but we see them differently. And women want to see themselves differently. They're not just looking to sort of jump on the D. They're looking for love. And, sex is just part of it. Whereas if a man's looking for affection and physical affection's part of it, it's kind of like he's just a sleazy ratbag. Ah, Mr. TV, it's Sam. Now I know how you know about Karu. How you going, man? Hope you're well. Karu, I was talking to him last night, and I used one of your terms, and he actually mentioned you. I used the term jabroni. Boffin says, guys, hit the thumbs up. Yeah, hit the thumbs up. Give me a like. Subscribe. It's all free, guys. It doesn't cost you a cent, and it helps my channel out. Thumbs up, like, thumbs up, like if you appreciate my content. and my rambling. Come on, how far up do I need to scroll? Okay. There was a big jump. All right. Let me see if there's anything standing out. Music Addict. Finally caught one of your streams. Got to say, I really like the analytical style of videos. You don't just bash people for the sake of bashing. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Thanks for coming on board. Have you heard of Gabor Mate? Yeah, I have. He's pretty cool. Although I don't necessarily believe in, I'm not on the same page with everything, but I like his perspective. In the same way, I like Alain de Botton as well, but not with everything, but much more than the average person. So Gabor's pretty good. He's a guy with a lot of empathy, which I like. Very smart too. Smart Guy says, most women I know have had more partners than I've had hot meals. Yep. That's weird. Myrtlefoot says, I'm very straight but love male feet. I think that's just the fetish. Carlos says, it matters how many men women have slept with, otherwise we wouldn't be having this conversation. Yeah. It's kind of like, it shouldn't matter, human. It matters to me. In the same way I meet somebody, my instinct is if I notice a certain personality type or a lifestyle, I go, I don't like that. And I can actually connect it and see how it wouldn't work with mine, how we'd have problems. So at a very instinctual level, if you resist it, go with your instincts. And no matter someone saying, well, it's wrong, you should accept it. Why? What about some things that are less than moral about me as a guy? Oh, no, they stand. But with a woman, you've got to change your thinking. She should be able to be a prostitute and also be a priest. Don't buy the gaslighting. Wet Palette Warrior says, is there an equivalent to daddy issues with regards to boys? Yeah, mummy issues. And their mothers. Yeah, mummy issues. My parents separated in my teens. I was raised by my father and I feel little warmth towards women. Well, yeah. So, yeah, I'd say women can have daddy issues and men can have mummy issues. Like I mentioned, my friend who was left by his mother when he was young, he has mummy issues. And you can see it very overtly with how he dates and what he tolerates from women. And how angry and annoyed he gets. I think it's more because of his reactions, his reflexes. Mr. Highway says, yeah, if you ask a woman their body count, they will never include one-night stands. Women tend to include longer relationships, and they'll count them as, oh, I've slept with that person and that person. And what about all those other? Oh, they were just dating. I don't count them. I mean, in the same way, when a woman asks me how many relationships have you had, I don't count dates. But I rationally don't count dates. That's not a relationship. That's dating. That's getting to know someone. That's having a coffee. A relationship for me is, you're monogamous. You're committed to each other. You introduce your family, your friends. You exclude all others. You're serious and you're in that mode. But if I was a woman, I'd be saying, if someone asked me how many relationships have you had, I would include everything, which is really dumb. Yeah, women don't count flings, fun, Tinder, and all that sort of stuff. How many men they slept on when they were on holiday with their girlfriend or on their own. They don't count their secrets. Women can keep a lot secret from themselves and others, and they can gaslight themselves much easier, whereas a guy is objective, How many cars have you had? Anyway, look, I'm going off on tangent. But women will represent themselves in flattering ways, and if there's a way of editing how they're conveying themselves, they will, if it'll make them look better. And they'll justify it by saying, well, I don't count that. It's like, no, but I asked you in the question to count everything. Yeah, but I don't count that. I don't care if you don't count it or not. That's factual. You need to, yeah. Luga says, koalas don't have syphilis, it's chlamydia. You're right. You're absolutely right. Koalas have chlamydia, not syphilis. I think they get it naturally from the eucalyptus or something. Some part of their body chemistry. It's also a reason that they don't have many natural predators. They eat so much eucalyptus that they taste terrible. And so animals don't want to eat them. Red sings the blues. Thank you very much for the donation, man. He says, love to interview you, been watching for a while. I think I just discovered your channel the other day. Let's talk. Email me and we'll see. Let me have a look at your content and see if there's any talking points. Thanks for the super chat though. Sometimes I like to talk with guys, but then there's also some guys that they look like they'd be cool to hang out with, but there's some guys that I think our audiences are very different, and I don't really see much in common between the two, so a recorded chat probably wouldn't be great. Although I like the person's character, they'd be fun to joke around with. Whereas other people, I'm aware of providing good content for the people that like my channel, and so someone else, if they've got content or they've got a personality that can not just serve my audience, but they've got something new to sort of put into the mix of conversation where we can sort of cross-pollinate stuff, that's really good. For instance, I don't like debating a lot and sort of trying to prove who's right, who's wrong between two different guys and two channels. One channel trying to win over another. So yeah, I'm always open for a chat, especially a recorded one that's going to go live between guys that either I get along with or both our respective audiences will get something from it. Yeah, Zach says she loves the hero in you, not the human in you. Yeah. Wet Palette Warrior says, you've spoken of your father. What impact did your mother have on who you are today? She had a great impact as well. She's old school, so she's not... both of them taught me similar lessons, but when you see them both coming from a woman and a man, life lessons, how to treat people, what's fair, what's not fair, what's reciprocal, what's cooperation, I got it from both. So seeing it from both the male and the female, in a household that I respected and wanted to emulate when I was younger, you actually see, no, these principles matter in and of themselves. And there wasn't necessarily anything that's male or female. I mean, there were things. My mum had her role as a wife, and my father had his role as a husband. So he did all the typical guy stuff. My mum did all the typical woman stuff, and they stayed out of each other's way, but they cooperated. So my dad did all the guy stuff to contribute, and the woman, and my mother did all the woman stuff to contribute. So there was a really great cooperative dance. It was a lot of good give and take. But in terms of values and principles, my father and mother both taught them in tandem in different ways. My father, from a guy's point of view, I get certain lessons that were made. Sometimes that were for a guy, and my mother would give me lessons from a woman's point of view about what women are like, and the reality of, like, yeah, women might say this or might like this, and then I'd get it from my father, and I'd work out what was what based on me. But generally, in terms of human beings, the fairness and how to treat people, from both of them. And to this day, still my mother, I still sort of get that, which is really good. My father and my mother worked really, really well together. That's what I really got. And that's what frustrated me going out into the world dating. I found it really hard to recreate that working environment between a guy and a girl, getting along, their personalities. Like, my mother and my father were different in personalities, but they were so complimentary and respectful of each other and caring of each other. And that cooperation was something I saw, and I could never recreate it. They had the same values, though. That's very important. Opposites don't attract. If you have the same values, it's your best chance of a relationship working. And that took me a long time to figure out, because I look at my mother and father, they've got different personalities, and I say, oh yeah, opposites can attract. Look at my mother and father. You get old and you start, it's like, yeah, you can have different characters and no one's the same. Everyone's got little peculiarities and picadillos and things like that. But despite your different predilections, if you've got the same calibrating factor of values, then that's what cements trust, loyalty, and love for the long term. I think Stefan Molyneux said that love is the involuntary response to virtue. And I think that's very true. Your values and your virtues are the thing that cements your relationship. Yeah, you can be attracted to something very foreign and sexy, but look for similar values and virtues. That's your best bet if you want something to last, especially if you want to have children with somebody. Please have the same values and spend long enough with them that you can actually see it's not just what she says, but how she acts, and her values are actually translated to her life. She's not just saying what you want to hear just so she can get a kid out of you. Yeah, Hydrostatic says, I prefer a car that has less owners, less joy rides, and less mileage. Anyone else agree? I agree. And women will like to kind of shame you. Men make analogies to understand things. So they'll say that we'll analogize cars so we can all come to terms with what we value and what's right. You know, so we'll say, oh, look, here's something we're describing about women. Then we'll say, it's like a car, blah, blah, blah. And a woman says, don't describe me like a car. I'm not a car. Or a guy will say, well, like a dog. I'm not a dog. Don't describe me like a dog. So women will always shame you that I'm not any analogy you're describing. I can ephemerally be sort of on my own and unknowable and have this mystique about me. No, I'm trying to understand you, and the best way I can understand you is to solidify some sort of analogy about you as a woman in terms of right and wrong. And so you can see it as well as I can. But when society and women keep telling men you can't use analogies to calibrate what's right and wrong in your values, it's like, no, yes I can. I know what a good car is. I know what a good dog is. And I'm not sort of denigrating women. I'm saying I really love my car and I really love my dog, and here is how I value love. Don't describe me as a dog. It's like, I'm not. And don't try and co-opt the conversation. I'm describing what I value in something else. You need to acknowledge that valuing something around that is right. So be very wary of when they kind of literally, they focus on the literal analogy you're using rather than what it means. C2MFA says, this was a line by Patrice O'Neill. He says, sex ain't all I'm after unless that's all you're offering. Men are like that. If all you're offering is to sleep with a man, then he'll take it. But if you're offering more, a man will value that for the long term more. If you give it away, if it doesn't mean much to you, if you just want to give it away to lots of guys. See, women want variety now with relationships and sleeping around like they do with shopping and buying shoes. That's become their baseline, unfortunately. I've got a currency where I can enjoy shopping with multiple men and keep shopping for as long as I can. But then that currency runs out and you can't shop anymore. And then you kind of want to say, oh, well, now I want to cash that in and get serious. It's like a man's not paying full price for a used car. Gledzema says, they may find love quickly, but rarely do they resolve their personal issues that contributed to the breakup in the first place. An endless cycle of damsel who needs saving. Yeah. If you can always move on and recite a script, it's kind of like if someone gave you an opening paragraph script to get any job you wanted and it would pretty much work. This is what women are doing. It's like act any way you want, forget your past, then go on to the next guy and you've got a script that'll get the next job, most likely. And you can keep lying. And look, before you couldn't lie as much as a woman because when you'd meet people in your own vicinity, in your own social circle, you couldn't keep burning bridges, betraying people, sleeping around, having double lives, sleeping with multiple people, cheating, because people would see you and you'd have a reputation. Women can hide their reputation now. They can sleep with someone, 2 hours away in that direction, another, like people who will never meet each other. And so you can basically have double lives. And when you finally find some sort of alpha guy that meets your, you think this is the best I can probably do in midlife, then you never have to admit your secrets. You can lie about your body count because they're probably thinking in their heads, well, look, how is that going to help my relationship at the moment? That's only going to ruin it. And so which is rationally true. If she admits her body count, it serves no purpose in the relationship. It's only going to hurt him and hurt the relationship. In the same way, a guy might tell a white lie where his wife will say, do I look fat in this dress? And he'll say, no, babe. Or so he'll be sympathetic, or if he'll tell a white lie, but it's constructive for the relationship. Now, a woman will lie about her body count in the same way. Oh, well, I'll tell a white lie because it's constructive for the relationship right now. But the thing is, he wouldn't have got with you beforehand if you admit, like this, the thing with a guy is when you get together with someone, the trust develops where you're open at the start and they know you completely, all your past, all your little corners. Then later on, if you tell little white lies about like, yeah, you can lie to keep her happy in certain situations, at least she knows you or you know her. But if you're just constructing a fake persona from the get-go, just to get this person that superficially you find attractive or is the best you can do at the moment, you're trying to jump onto a life raft because, you've hit the wall. That's the hard place. That's where you probably feel, bad, like I've settled for the wrong man as a woman, or I let a good opportunity go. That guy in his 20s who wanted to marry me, and I said no because I thought the grass was greener and I wanted to travel more. And I didn't want to get married yet. I wanted to get married when I was in my 30s. Well, in your 30s, you want to get married because You can marry a lot of your opportunity for marriage in your 20s is a lot easier. You want to get married when it's harder. Doesn't make sense, but that's women. If you're out of work from getting sick and you find yourself hitting the bottle too much, what's the best way to stop? Good friends or AA, the first thing that comes to mind. I'm not experienced with that, man. I'm not a drinker. Sorry. My ex of 7 years only had one other partner before me. She's 25. I think it's a big reason she left me. This is another factor too. If a woman's not, if two personalities aren't compatible, right? If a woman who is naturally, like say, from a broken family, she's naturally promiscuous, she's a rebel, and she's not psychologically made to be consistent. She can't discipline herself. She's she's wild and she changes her mind all the time. She might sort of land a guy early and try and do the right thing because she wants a kid, or she's left home and she's a bit insecure, so she feels like, oh well, I'll get married, at least I'll have security away from my parents, I can move out of home, I'm with this guy. But some women, if they pick the wrong man or they marry the wrong guy because your personalities don't match, there's a lot of those women who, after a while, thinking, well, I don't really like this guy and I really want to sleep around. Yeah, that's a hard one. You can have a personality that you can sense you're really not made for each other, but you stay married. And then one of you will pull the plug and try and make up for lost time because you can't stand living in an awful relationship with somebody. I've seen more cases where, especially with my friends, they married when they're young, but they married personalities where their values and virtues matched. There's very few of them that break up for frivolous reasons. People who don't get together where their values and virtues, if those don't match, then there's more chance of you breaking up regardless. I don't know if I explained that one very well. I sort of meandered around a bit. Jacob, thank you for the super chat. He says, Human, I am a street artist who is soon to start through street art. Wish me luck. You're going to Morpheus people in street art, through street art. I'm running into more and more of us out there. Yeah. Men know what's going on. There's a lot of MGTOWs out there without even finding the acronym through YouTube videos or things like that. Brad MC says, they are called sons' husbands. The dad version. If our parents have bad relationships, those issues are projected into the kids. Yeah. Time of dying. Yeah, TFM was abandoned by his mother at a young age too. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, he was. A lot of these things affect us. And when people kind of laugh at it, it shows that they don't have any sympathy. Like, it would affect you. Imagine that happened to you. You were that traumatized by a kid. You didn't know how to handle it. You get such a big scar that never goes away. It heals, but it heals in a way that you're protective in ways that other people aren't. And so you find it hard to have normie relationships because you have scars that other people don't. It's just the way it is. You can come to terms with it. You can do a lot of work on yourself, but it's always there. And it annoys me when people sort of laugh and say, oh, you need to man up and get over that. Yeah, seriously. How are you going to tell someone to get rid of a scar that's never going to be erased, like a mother or a father not being there when you were a kid? It's a bit cold. I'm not saying make that an excuse, but people learn to cope in certain ways, and that coping strategy becomes part of their character and their personality. And sorry, thanks, Mum and Dad. Adriano, thank you very much for the super chat. He says, a lot of women's spinsters in the future? Probably. Hey Joe 212 says, hey human, that t-shirt with the chick on it you had in the early in the video was awesome. Did you design it? No, I bought it a few years ago, many years ago. I think from a market somewhere. Yeah, Brad says, if a woman has a high body count, you'll just be another number in the count. It won't stop with you. Yeah, look, again, a human brain is logically a pattern machine. If a woman has a pattern of picking bad boys and never having good relationships, you're logically just another one of those. Or she sees you as a bad boy, or that's the mode of relationship you're going to have with her. She's not suddenly going to see the light and have a religious moment with you. Romantically, we like to think that, but logically, follow the pattern. Blue P says, you've said before that you had relationships and get with women. My question is, do you do the pursuing? No, I don't really pursue. I kind of sort of see if there's a mutual attraction or a friendship or a familiarity. When you're younger, you do just tend to pursue because you don't know who you are, you don't know what you want. It's just like, she looks hot, my biology wants her, I'm going to fumble around with my words. Whereas now it's kind of like, if I do get with women or I do leave that door open, it's when I can naturally get along and talk with a person and our personalities match. So it's not that hard anymore. Think about it. When you're young, you don't know what you want. You don't know who you are. You're just going off biology. So you're fumbling with words. You're trying to impress. What do they want to say? Because I don't know what they're like. I don't know my values. I don't know theirs. Now it's like easy. I just start talking to someone. And pretty quickly it's like, I get along with you or I don't. So it's not hard. So if I don't get along with you, see you later. I like my single life. If I do, great. It's not hard work because two similar personalities are getting along. You don't have to try with the right person. So I don't pursue as much as I mutually dance now in terms of personality and conversation. So realistically, it should be that way. If I knew this now, I would have saved myself from a lot of mistakes and bad relationships because I just wanted what I wanted because I found it attractive. Whereas it was hard because it wasn't natural. You weren't meant to be with that person. It wasn't going to last anyway. Your biology wanted them and wanted to reproduce. But now it's you come to terms with what's your kind of person. And so it's a lot easier. And you don't stress about someone who's not your kind of person. Yeah, you can sleep around and have one-night stands. You don't have to care about that. But if you want a person around, you want some sort of casual, ongoing, or long-term relationship, your values need to be similar. And so in that sense, I don't think you pursue as much as it's like a mutual dance. It's like, do you pursue your friends? You don't. There's a natural give and take. Yeah, Mr. Smith says, only boyfriends count. As Chris Rocks once said, the guy behind the bar doesn't count. That's true. Fahna side, Mookie Mooks. In 10 to 15 years, all these single angry women will be a mass horde. How will this affect men in society? No idea. Women will gaslight themselves and men, and they'll survive. Every living organism wants to survive, so they'll gaslight themselves to survive. So don't worry. Life will go on. Women will be forgiven. Women will lie to be forgiven. They'll admit the truth, like you said. You know, I didn't sleep with this many guys. All those Tinder dates and all those hookups don't count. I consider real relationships are the times I slept with someone. Yeah, good for you, lady. Considering that women, it's really hard to have relationships with women today because of how they act, their attitudes, and how non-committal they are, and how they can't defer gratification or be disciplined. Future women, the very few that have longer relationships, they're going to seem like, wow, you're special. You've only had 2 partners in your life because you only consider serious relationships as partners you've slept with. The fact is, you're hard to have a relationship with, but you're convincing me that you're virtuous because you've only slept with 2 guys. It's because only 2 guys could stand you long enough to have a relationship with you. That's actually going to fool a lot of guys in the future. That's not a good thing. When women only see serious relationships as the guys they've slept with, because no guy wants to have a relationship with them. They could only get 1 or 2 desperate men to have a relationship. And then she uses the cachet of, well, I've only slept with 2 men. Ricky says, if you ask a woman how many guys she has and she gives you an answer, simply multiply by 30 at least. Curato, thank you very much for the super chat. He says, I'm 23. I don't date. It's harder than making money. It's funny, like guys find making money a lot easier than dating and getting women these days. Makes you think. Red Sings the Blues, thank you for the donation. Human, no doubt, sent you an email already. Can't wait to work with you. Cheers, man. I'll get to your email when I get a chance. Thanks for the super chat. Okay, let's get up to speed here. Motopunk, thank you for the super chat donation. He says, if you've been duped by alphas a lot, it's not their entire fault though. Imagine you kept meeting Megan Fox, then they use you and doesn't want to date you. Yeah. If I get Megan Fox for a night, I don't suddenly delusionally, if I can see the situation as a fluke, I don't put my standards at Megan Fox anymore. If you put your standards realistically in your life, your day-to-day, who you are, who you relate to, what you find comfortable, that's your best chance at long-term success. If you go on holiday, which is what sleeping with a celebrity would be. So if I go to a holiday to Nepal and I enjoy a great time there, different food, see different things, and I'm blown away by the foreign great aspect of it, the celebrity-like aspect, and then after 2 weeks I have to come home, I can't set my standards at Nepal. It's a very different life. It's not my life. You have to know who you are. Know thyself. Oh, there's a lot of people on. Okay. Gonzalo says, it matters until it doesn't. Once no longer interested in relationships, her count is meaningless, relating to the path you'll be in. It may be played a role in the past, but not actively later on. Yeah, look, again, I think it's more for people who it's an indication of character. Your past respect of yourself and cycling through many people is like there's no sense of home for you. You're always moving on. You're always traveling. You're always changing chairs. If don't have the ability to sort of be able to sit still in one spot for long enough, and that includes relationships, it's just an indication. It's like in job interviews. When they ask you certain questions, they determine your character um, to more accurately assess how you'd be in this job that you're required for. So if you're a guy who wants to get married and have children, her body count is going to factor into it. Adam says, as men, are we safer to be with a 5 or a 10? Again, it's what you consider a 5 or a 10. Try to sort of what a 10 is for you. Try and let not just the looks of what a 10 is for you, but I know for me, if I just see someone and they're an 8 or a 9, and as soon as they open their mouth, they go down to a 2, that needs to matter to you. You can't just look at someone physically and go, oh, they're a 10 all the time, no matter how they treat you, what they say, and what their values and what their life is. Basically, you're going to bend everything about you. You're going to change yourself completely just to be with this 10 because you just see her as a physical 10. The 10 needs to encapsulate much more than... no one's a 10 anyway. At best, a 9 or an 8. Hit the like and subscribe button, guys. Thumbs up, it doesn't cost you anything. Red Baboon says, I think being honest about her body count can benefit in some cases. Some men are full disclosure. They want to know what they are getting into before deciding, good or bad. Yeah. With me, if that's my personal standard, I actually respect someone who's honest. Like a woman who owns her promiscuity and she doesn't lie about it. That's her life. I'm not going to have a long-term relationship with someone of that kind of character because someone who's like that probably has a lot of other stuff that wouldn't be compatible with me. Like should be a real girl power person, probably a loudmouth. But I respect full disclosure and honesty much more. And then, if that's okay with you, that's a feeling of security and trust. Like I know everything about the person. Or as much like they're always coming across as honest and their actions match their words. And I bump into people and they confirm that what she said was true. So, but yeah, that's a good point too. Some men are full disclosure kind of people. They want to know everything. So yeah, a guy might be able to forgive a high body count if she's being honest about it and owns it and is showing honesty. But then that's a risk she needs to take, and good. Because if she finds a man that appreciates that more than anything else, then he might be able to live with it. But lying and forming a personality based upon what the other person thinks, wants you to be is not a good way to live. Acting in a woman's movie or a woman acting in a man's movie, it's only a matter of time before you want the movie to end and you bail. Wet Palette Warrior says, Aaron Cleary said it best, you aren't competing with individual men, you are competing with the Superman that represents all the options the free woman has. Yeah, that's right in a lot of women's minds. A woman who wants it all, you're competing with every man out there. Thug Obama says, but I have a PhD and I'm a strong and independent though. Yeah. Chaos for You 728 says, Human, would you agree that pump and dump perpetuates more problems between men and women? Yes. It's like we're kids in candy stores. We're children who want to eat chocolate cake all the time. We don't want to grow up. We want to stay at the party too long. And unfortunately, in the dating game, women control the way we get together and date. How much, like, all men can do is ask, and women say yes and no. And if women are saying yes to a lot of perpetual pumping and dumping, look at Tinder. The amount of women on there and the amount of women who have a lot of men sitting in their profile, they know that they've got like hundreds or thousands of options. If women didn't have as many options, and all of us, if the more you know yourself, know what matters, you start caring less about 100 options and you just want your 5. And you start paying less time and attention to those other 95 things. You just want your 5 essential things, and you're okay at ignoring the other 95 things. You just want your 5. But if you're someone who's addicted to variety and having it all, then you're going to be like a lot of these people who are just sort of into casual hookups. You can do it for a while, but then it gets old. It's kind of like, yeah, I like riding skateboards when I was young too, but you know, at some point, you look stupid as a middle-aged person riding a skateboard. Anyway, let me focus again. Sam says, Human, at what point did you figure you were not interested in marriage, and how can men avoid marriage if you are in a long-term relationship? It's next to impossible. I was always really worried because I didn't know if it was something I wanted when I was young. And I assumed, you know, you're young, you don't know yourself, you haven't sort of started to solidify how you see the world and your ethics and values. I just saw my friends getting married in their 20s and I thought, that's really worrying because I'm expected to kind of do that now because everyone's getting married. And it really scared the crap out of me. I wasn't sure. I needed to be sure because I'm the kind of person, I know it's a permanent decision. You know, it's a large, long-term decision, if you will. So it's not like, oh, I can go for a trip to Canada or I can go for a trip to the UK, or like, you know, if I don't like it, I can come back. Marriage and kids wasn't a recoverable thing for me if I didn't know I wanted it 100%. So for me, it really worried me because I knew I needed to know that it was for me in the same way I knew that art and illustration and writing was for me, and the things that I really loved in my life. I needed to love marriage and kids and wanting to have a wife in the same way. I needed to know because my friends seemed to do it casually and they knew when you asked them. It's like, oh, I knew she was the one I was going to marry. It's like, I admire you, man, because I don't have anywhere near that feeling of any woman or wanting marriage or kids. And as I got older, it's like I figured it wasn't for me. I just didn't have that wiring in me. It's not like I wanted it, but the women were so bad that my reason and sensibility said, well, I'm not marrying these women. And then after a time, it's like, you know, I'm not marrying any woman because they're not worth it. It was that I just didn't have any attraction to being married or having the role of a father. So that's what it's... I wasn't resisting marriage because it was too dangerous. It was just... it wasn't in me. Mr. Highway says, my mother abandoned me. I saw my sister for the first time in 10 years yesterday. Sorry to hear, man. What happens to us in childhood, how we were raised, keep saying it, it affects us in ways, our character, how hard we are in certain ways, how open we are in other ways, or the lack thereof. But it's for our benefit to recognize that and then come to terms with it. Then you can kind of relax. You're not controlled by it, because it can sometimes frustrate you when you're in certain situations. You act in certain ways, or you find yourself you can't act in certain ways. You don't know why you're resisting it. When you find out it's a lot of how you were raised, and you can kind of go, oh, I can see that. And I can see what I can kind of breathe easy now. Now I can navigate my way around it. You got more control over it. Motopunk, thank you very much for the super chat. He said, happens to girls too. I know a girl who dated a guy for 6 years in her prime and then left her when he became famous to sleep around, and it destroyed her. Sure, can happen to women too. I don't discount that. I'm just saying in general, women tend to move on quicker. They're the ones that file for most divorces. Men have the most to lose. Women have the most power in those situations. So I'm not saying that men don't do it too. They do. The degree to which women and men do these things are very, very different too. Very different though. The statistics bear it out. And you can't... This is the argument that annoys me, is the saying, simply because both men and women can do it doesn't make it equal. The amount or the degree to which each side does it, that's the point. And that's why men are more and more worried these days. Or this is why women are acting in this way more these days. The degree to which each side does or doesn't do something. Leon says, Human, what would you do if you caught your girl lying on a number of partners? Be fairly ticked off. And, yeah, good question. Like I said, for me, if she was upfront at the start, it probably wouldn't bother me as much as long as she didn't have some sort of incurable disease that's going to affect me. But basically, if she was hiding something big from me, whatever it was, and same with women, if a guy hides about having a child and tells her later on, basically hiding a large part of his life that matters to the other person, then it sort of it's up to you whether or not you accept it. So if put it this way, I never ask. It doesn't. I don't want to know. I don't give a crap, right? Because at the same time, I don't like a woman who's inexperienced that I have to hold her hand in bed. That's no fun for me. I don't want to have kids, so I don't ask. So for me, it's a moot point. Unless she actually comes out and tells me, like this is the thing. If she comes out, because I don't ask, I don't care. If she comes out and tells me without actually me asking, that kind of tells me like you're proud of something that plays into her character. So I probably wouldn't go out with someone who foisted it on me on the first date and like is proud of like I've slept with thousands and thousands of guys. My first inclination is, well, I'm just going to be another one of the thousands, so I'm not going to take you seriously. You're just a fun girl. But if I asked, actually, that's probably a better point. It takes me a long time to get through this. This is the way I think. See, this is why I repeat myself in videos, because I want to get to the point. I want to make sense of things. If I asked her, I would respect an honest answer. That's the best way I can put it. George, thank you for the donation. He says, a high body count will reduce the woman's SE-actual market value. Yes, it does. Thug Obama says, my wife's boyfriend doesn't let me watch your videos. Your wife's boyfriend? Okay, this is a joke. Okay. Yeah, Dynamite Rabbit says, every girl wants a bad boy who will be good just for her, and every boy wants a good girl who will be bad just for him. Hydrostatic says, maybe women don't like our analogies because they are too accurate. The truth is depressing to them. Yeah, they don't like reality if it doesn't flatter them. Women don't like to feel bad. Girls just want to have fun, as Cyndi Lauper said. Heath, thank you for the donation. His comment is, travel the world alone and you will meet many high-quality women. Maybe. But if you travel the world, it's all temporary. Women like men who are traveling. They have money. They can have a fling with them because he's going to leave. It's freeing. But as well, like, where's your home base? If you just want to sleep around and have fun and have temporary relationships, the world is built for that now. Although not now, you can't travel. But depends what you want. The jig is up. Do men really want monogamy though? Yeah, I do. If I was to ever get into a relationship. I've had fun too. I've got a lot of things I like to do with my life. When you're constantly spinning plates and rotating women and flipping, you spend your life juggling them. All your time's consumed. I want to have a consistent woman here. I have my YouTube channel, I have my car, I have my friends, I have my family. I like to have my life organized. I don't want one place of my life, the woman, constantly moving in and out and changing. Because it's a place that I enjoy and I like spending time with. If I have a good woman, why would you want that space to resemble something that gives you an insecurity and chaos and it's constantly moving? So I'm a routine-based, secure kind of guy. So I've never enjoyed one-night stands and flipping partners. Lucid Dream, McTow. Human, do you agree that men from being lonely wolves, women civilized to be I can't understand the sentence. Do you agree that men from being lonely wolves, women civilized to be lap puppies? I'm not sure what you mean. Lucid Dream McTow, question, would you make a stream with Terrence Pop? Yeah, why not? He's a funny guy. Again, it's one of those things also, what would both our audiences get? Like his audience is very much an entertainment-based, humor-based channel. I'm not. As a guy, I think he'd be a cool guy to have a chat with. But in terms of a topic, I'm not sure what we could commonly talk about that both our audiences would enjoy. I'm not sure. But yeah, He'd be a great guy to talk to. Lucid Dreaming Tale. Please make a live chat with Coltane taking our questions. Coltane's a very private guy. I think he's out there living his life. I haven't talked to Coltane for a while now. Let's that travesty human. You really do perfect the camera shot, man. I'm running 360p and it looks like goddamn 720. The camera makes a big difference. Micro Four Thirds, man. And also your video capture card. I had a 4K video capture card that was supposed to be better. This one's just a HD 1080, and this one actually looks a lot better. I don't know why, but also I've always found that video looks better with Micro Four Thirds than it does with full frame. I don't know why. Full frame technically is bigger, better, brighter, especially for photography. I shoot my normal videos in full frame, a Canon EOS R. And for that, the look I want, and the way I can grade and manipulate it, I can get it looking good. But for real-time streaming, nothing beats a Micro Four Thirds. It's just the pixel density it's got in such a small sensor. It makes it so clear and sharp. I mean, this does, I think, 4K as well, or 6K now with the upgrade. I can't remember. So yeah, this camera punches above its weight. Not just this camera, I think Micro Four Thirds in general. Adam says, Human, are there seriously any trustworthy women out there? Your thoughts? Yeah, of course they are. There are. Fewer and fewer these days because they don't have to be. The more you allow people to hide and you reward them for hiding, like look now how much of the younger generation can hide in Instagram profiles, like OnlyFans, things like that. Like you can hide your lives and make money in places that you wouldn't want to tell your parents about. That's socially unacceptable. You know that socially you'll be shamed, but you still do it and you compartmentalize your life. So it's harder and harder to find good moral people. People don't live as morally out there amongst each other anymore. They're living siloed digital lives. Like I'm just living here on my camera, and so I can change my persona. I'm human, and then I go somewhere else and I've got another site where I make money as a cam guy, and I go somewhere else and I write a book, and I go somewhere else and I play sport. Or people are compartmentalizing themselves. When you had to be more of one person everywhere in your life, it was a lot clearer and simple, and how you treated everyone started to sort of matter. Whereas now I can be one persona here, I can be another persona there. So it's harder to meet any good people because people are rewarded for and pushed to split their personalities. So when you're with a person, it's like, who am I with? You don't know what they're like. You don't trust them because most people are split. They compartmentalize their personalities everywhere. They hide a lot. Feral Male, he says, women don't civilize men. Men civilize themselves for women. Thoughts? I agree. I think that's a good way to look at it. Because women don't teach men to be men. Men civilize themselves. It's like when a man goes hunting a deer, he recognizes how to catch the deer, how to operate and get what he wants, how to adjust himself to be with the deer as a hunter. A man adjusts himself or civilizes himself with a woman in society to contribute and be functional and sort of get what he wants in that same way. So a man changes himself for himself to get what he wants out of life, which includes women. But this misnomer that women civilize men as though they teach men because they're so wise, they don't. Men just adjust themselves because being civilized is basically how you conduct yourself in the world and around women. So you learn how to conduct yourself around women to get them and to enjoy your life with them, not just to sort of be a puppet in their dumpster fire of a life, but you civilize or discipline yourself or coordinate yourself in a way that it's got a woman in mind. But women don't civilize men. Yeah, I think you're right. Men civilize themselves for women, or men civilize themselves to get what they want or to be in the environment they want in life. Men adjust themselves rationally, which is probably another way of saying civilize themselves. Red Baboon says, Terence Pop does have a serious side when needed. Okay. I haven't sort of, I've watched some of his stuff, and I like it. But to me, I've just watched all this really funny, slapstick, humorous side where he's drinking. So yeah, I haven't seen much or any of him when he's on his serious side. Love the midweek stream. Yeah, I did it last time and it was popular, so I decided to do it again. A lot of people are asking me to do streams with other people. Actually, I wouldn't know how to... I've got to figure out how to do this sort of live stream with somebody else. I know it can be done, I just don't know how. And to keep the integrity and the quality of it like this. I need to investigate. I'd rather do a recorded chat like I've done in the past, where at least I've got some control over the final look and feel of it. Barrett says, look how into cameras and video editing is. I love seeing passionate people. This is the thing as well, guys. Like, find something you love doing. You know, we're human doings. Like, I love cameras, editing, music. Check out the latest little music clip I put up on my music channel, Human Soundscape. So I chucked that on because I haven't updated in a while. But have stuff you like creatively doing. You know, have a car you like washing and tuning and driving. Like, whatever it is, have some guy stuff, or it doesn't even have to be guy stuff. Like, you know, videos and drawing and writing isn't necessarily a guy stuff, but have something you love doing. And then if you don't have a relationship, it doesn't hit you as hard because you've got something to distract yourself with at first, and then it reminds you that you love doing this thing. Whereas if you have nothing in your life, you've got no interests, and you're only oriented in a way that women only matter, you're going to have a really hard time when it comes to heartbreak. Brad, people are commenting on a lot of the gear talk I'm talking. I might actually do a video here and there about my gear setup and not getting into color grading, because each time I do a video, it's very subjective. Depending on the lighting, how I do each video is slightly different. So there's no one size that I do, but I'll talk about the general process. Some guys have actually some guys are actually interested. So basically the camera I use now is a Panasonic GH5. And right now I'm using a Leica 15mm 1.7, which is a 30mm equivalent, 3.4. And the mic I'm using is this is a really good mic actually. I love this mic. This mic is a Lewitt 440 Pure. I'm running this through OBS, Streamlabs OBS, and the video has actually got a LUT on it, which for you guys, this is I like this nerdy stuff. So for instance, let's play with this for a second. Look at this. How nicely you can play around with stuff. This is the look I've put on. When you put a LUT on and when you put a LUT off, this is what it looks like. Look how boring it looks. This is just the normal camera. I color correct it and then I put a LUT on and you get a really nice look. This is the stuff that really I love doing. And this is the stuff you can actually have fun in life with, guys. Have fun doing stuff. Get into audio, get into video, get into fitness. Just because you enjoy the thing in and of itself. Love stuff. Stop loving women. Love things. We're human doings. We love doing things in the world. Our mistake is we put all our eggs in the basket of women. Stop just loving women. Love stuff. Some stuff will never leave you. You know? As insane as it sounds, like it's great to have human connections, but you know, my art ability, my love of music, my love of audio, video, this stuff will never betray me. Do you get it? Like, love things, guys. Love things. Stop only loving women. Motorpunk, thank you for the donation. He says, what's the body count you'd get uncomfortable with? It tends to be different for guys depending on their experience. Is it okay as long as it's less than yours? Again, I wouldn't ask because I actually like a woman with experience. But if she'd come out overtly and tell me and be proud of it, it would play into my respect for her character. In the same way, I suppose a woman would, if she'd ask me or be aware that I could, how many guys I've been in fights with. But if all of a sudden I'm proud of, like, I bash up people all the time and I'm really violent, then it wouldn't. So in a similar way, I don't ask because I don't care, but I want a woman who's experienced. In the same way, she wants a guy who's masculine, who can take care of himself. So I think it's analogous in some way. Maybe it's not a perfect example, but that's the first thing that came to mind. Human, do you work for yourself or for a company? Yes, I do both. Half of the week I work for a company, and the other half of the week I work for myself. Political questions I have no idea about, guys, or when you're asking me about where the world's going to be in 5 years or what's happening with the world, I don't know. I really don't know. Legendary Collector, thank you for the super chat. He says, yes, it matters how many men a woman has slept with. It's gross. She cannot pair bond. I will not waste my time. Yeah, if you want to pair bond for the long term, especially if you want kids and family, this is why a lot of people also practically got married and had kids younger. The chances that she slept with hundreds of men by her late teens or early 20s especially would be very, very unlikely. But if you're marrying someone in your 40s, Christ, like, you're delusional if you think she hasn't slept with a lot of guys, or at least a few. So practically speaking, it worked back in the day. Your biology, you're more fertile in your early 20s. The chances that someone was promiscuous was very low. Socially, the word would get around. But it's gross. The older you wait, there's more chances of something going wrong with the birth. Just everything points to negativity. So there's a lot of biological, instinctual reasons why men don't like it. And all of it points to, and all of it tends to be rational, if not biologically connected. Red Baboon says, yeah, human and pop I can see going well. Okay. Barrett says, I went on a date with a feminist. Was fun. Yeah, I think he's being facetious. I've been on a date with one or two lowercase feminists and probably one or two uppercase serious feminists. I remember one where she started going on, I think the topic was about something to do with men and women and how women are treated. And she started saying things that a proud feminist would be saying, like a wage gap or something like that, where she's been reading the brochure and she knows it off by heart. And I laughed and I said, oh, you're not a feminist, are you? And she said, what's wrong with feminism? It's about the equality between men and women. And it's like, oh, God, you're one of them. Okay. And then I thought, okay, at least this date will be fun. Let me just have an interesting conversation and let her know what I think. And it became aware to her that I didn't see things eye to eye with her between men and women. And I said, like, I was an anti-feminist for a very long time, some years ago. Now I'm not, but I don't respect feminists at all. And she didn't like that one bit. She says, oh, but it's about equality. I go, no, it's not. So anyway, yeah, I've been out with a feminist too. It was fun. It was a fun conversation. Wouldn't be fun dating them though, or having a relationship. Christ, imagine the amount of yes dears you have to do. Imagine how obsequious you have to be as a person and act in her movie. Adam asks an interesting question. Should we let women know that the gig is up and that we are aware of their natures, or just play it dumb with red P awareness? No, expose women. Let them know that you know, that they've got nowhere to hide, for them to be honest. Women have too many places to hide these days, not just online Tinder and things like that. Women just have too much incentive and are rewarded for lying, and just they can live double, triple lives everywhere. So expose women, let them know you know. Yep, let women know, for sure. Key himself says, I should sell my video editing skills on Fiverr. I don't think I'd like it, because you'd be getting video from somebody that's been shot poorly, and I at least kind of know my process, and so when I shoot the video, I know what looks good. I used to be very, very particular about it, but now, like, I used to shoot in log. Some of this language, some of you guys won't know what I'm talking about, but now I just shoot in a natural or a normal picture profile of the camera, and just as long as it looks good on the screen, I film, and then I like playing with it in post, in Premiere. And so as long as I just get a normal good-looking video with the saturation and all the sharpness and all of that turned down, I just pick a normal picture profile on any camera I use. So make it look flat and neutral as possible, and then when I chuck it into Premiere. But I don't use I don't use log anymore. I used to really kill myself trying to get videos looking good, and I was horrible at it. I'm not a great color grader, but I'm a good color grader when I do things very simply in a way that I like. I'm a creative person, so I like doing things my way and then playing with them to make them look and sound and come off a certain way. And I know how to do my stuff. So I don't know if I could teach someone. That's why if I do a video about my gear and how I do this stuff, I'll do it very basic, but I won't run through the little fine idiosyncrasies of, I adjust the contrast up this much, I do this with the saturation, I do that, because I do something different every time. But I might show how I do the big things. And then people can sort of play with their own things in between. The process I create videos is very stochastic. I was just about to read a comment and it jumped. LT, thank you very much for the super chat donation. He's saying, I'm having a healthy work week. $1,500 if I can get it all done and still be living. 14 tons of mulch with some hair on your beep. Hey, that newer Sony A1 is like 9 freaking grand. WTF, man. Nice seeing you, bud. Lestat. Hey, Lestat, how you going? Yeah, the new Sony A1, their flagship. It's like the price of a brand new small car. It's ridiculous. I can't justify that because here's the thing I found. If you have a little bit of interest in a camera and a bit of creativity, you can make a very cheap camera look good. Or you can make a entry-level prosumer or an entry mid-level kind of camera that's solid and really good. It's not the top of the top, but mid-level to lower. You can make it look something like the top-level cameras to the untrained eye. Pixel peepers, yeah, sure. But, for instance, the camera I'm using now is like a 4-year-old camera. No one buys Micro Four Thirds anymore. The technology's dying. This is an old tech camera. But I love these cameras because of what I want to do. You basically want to shoot good video. That's it. And I know how I can process the video slightly afterwards and get it looking like this. You have to look at what you want to get out of it. Too many people want the camera to do everything for them. Yeah, it's like even my full frame camera is an entry level full frame camera, but I make it look as good as it can. I make full frame look good. I make Micro Four Thirds look good. I don't need the camera to have 90% of features that I won't use. I find that wasteful. I mean, this camera has 90% features that I won't use, but I bought it many years ago when I was getting into doing videos. This camera actually was how I gave myself the excuse to actually buy it, because I was interested in it. I wanted to learn how to shoot video, and so I bought this. Is the first camera I used on my first video where I showed my face at the beach. So be interested in something, guys. You don't necessarily need to buy a Sony A1 for 9 grand. Although in Australia, it'd probably be about 11 grand or 12 grand. This is a good point. This is probably why I should actually do more videos about tech. Barrett says he's lit the F up right now talking about his love for his passions, and it's honestly making me feel better about my own love for stuff. That's a very good point. Too many guys, they'll make videos about how bad stuff was and how bad the environment out there is with women in society. Sometimes it's a reminder of actually going your path by seeing somebody feeling alive in them doing their own thing. So maybe for the very least, you can actually see in another guy when they love doing something and they love doing things and they have things in their life that they do and they go their way with. it helps you remind yourself or see what you like doing. That's a good point. And yeah, I like seeing that too. When I see a guy really passionate about something, people who belittle other people, like, oh, that guy, he's into his car. Man, look at the life in that guy's eyes when someone's really into photography or something. So yeah, I'll probably make an effort to do more about tech stuff because I really enjoy it, but I think I've gotten into the mode of people want to hear me talk about certain subjects or talk about things in a certain philosophical way. Sometimes just showing you going about my life and doing the things I do, like the music I do when I uploaded it. I might start sharing more of my day-to-day passions with you, and you guys might get a bit out of it. Let me know below in the comments if you guys would appreciate seeing more of the creative stuff I do and not necessarily talk about the things I talk about and give you a break sometimes. A Shadow Ghost, thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate it, man. He says, Shadow Ghost gets a working group gearbox upgrade next week. With that and emergency naps, I have no time or desire to be about body count. A new gearbox. That'd cost a bit. That'd actually be good. I actually wonder whether there's something wrong with my gearbox. I changed my car over about a month and a half ago, and going from first to second feels a bit clunky, whereas other gears feel pretty smooth. And I don't know if it's me because I haven't driven stick in about 10 years, and I've got a stick car again. So I hope it's not my gearbox. Otherwise, I guess I'll have to get it fixed, which won't be cheap. Although I think my car is still in warranty. LT, thank you for the donation. He says, where's the world going to be in 5 years? Lucid Dream MGTOW says, when you say you like experienced women and no sex without feelings, you're saying that you would smash a post-war feminist. For one night, maybe. If there could be some sort of guarantee that there wouldn't be no cops knocking on my door because she changed her story the next day. But no, seriously, no. Wouldn't touch a feminist, even for a pump and dump. Mr. Highway says human can't stop laughing when he thinks about marriage. It's not for me. I'm not laughing at marriage. Because I always kind of imagine myself. I'm very visual. It's like, no way. Not for me. Barrett, love what you've made here and good on you, you big nerd. Really enjoy your content. You challenge me. I'm out. See ya, man. Non-white knight, do women really want true equality? And if so, would they change their minds if they had to face accountability? Yes, they would. Because they used to before. That's the litmus test. That's you can actually, as a science experiment if you want. An empirical experiment, a realistic one. In the past, they were accountable. Now they're not. And they can hide in a lot of places digitally. They can have multiple lives. Monto Punk, thank you very much for the super chat. He says, it also messes up your mind. as in you're always comparing yourself to her experiences, and if she's been with too many alphas, you might not measure up. Yes, but also it's kind of an issue for yourself as well. If you're always comparing yourself to other men and you're feeling inferior, as in terms of how she thinks about you, you don't want to feel like that with anyone, platonic or romantic. That's more an issue with you. I mean, if she's been with a lot of men, she's been with a lot of men. The thing is whether you're going to accept it and you're okay with it. I'm not saying you should. Some people are off, so I think some people are going to bed now. The count's dropping a little bit. James Von Maxwell is in the house. Oh, where? Oh, there he is. James, how are you, man? He says, if I can pay the same price for a brand new car, why would I buy a used one? It makes no sense. Exactly. Makes no sense. Two women raised the same way. They both almost look exactly the same. They almost look like identical twins. One's 40 and her sister is 25, and you get along with both of them. Which one do you pick? But their characters are exactly the same. You know? And this is the thing. In terms of the price you pay, the way I know for myself, the way I like to be in love in a relationship, I'm going to be paying that price. It's not that I want to pay full price, like I'd give another woman more or less. But if I'm going to be in a relationship, the way I pay this price, the way I enjoy being in a relationship is one way. This is the way I pay. If I'm going to pay this way and be in love, I'm going to pay it to someone who's worth it. I'm not going to pay it to someone, I'm not going to pay that to a used car if I can get a newer car for the exact same way that I express that price. Or pay that price, sorry. Yeah, smash the like button. Subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, guys. Help the channel out. Ben RP, thank you for the super chat donation. His comment is, never seen a garbage female driving a trash pickup truck. Keep up the great content. Mr. Highway says, human vlog channel incoming. No, I'm not going to be one of those guys. I mean, you look at those guys that sort of do vlogs and then they get sort of cameras and equipment sent to them by companies, and your first impulse is like, as a tech nerd, is like, oh, awesome, I'm going to be able to test gear, but then you're always having to test new gear and talk well about it. Otherwise, you know, you're starting to twist your content to accommodate the products. So, because the thing is with me, if I find a camera I love, you start getting other cameras like, well, I have to start using them, but I really love this camera. I don't want to use the other ones, but now I have to. I wouldn't like to be in that position. But I do nerd out on audio visual, sort of, what do they call it? Multimedia gear like this. I really find, you know why? Because I think at heart I'm a storyteller, and what helps you, the tools that help you express stories well, I really, really get obsessed with. So pencils, paper, pens, books, cameras, microphones, anything that the human can tell a story through, I really love the technical aspect of it. It's like I want to know how to use it so I can tell better stories. Adam says, how many women out there do you think will tolerate the notion that the gig is up and that is men are aware of it and suppress their hypergamy while successfully holding alone? Who cares? Who cares how many women will tolerate it? It's like, what are you going to tolerate, man? It's like, if you got these hobbies, you got these friends, you got these pastimes, you got the freedom to do whatever you want, who gives a flying F what women will tolerate? Just say and be the person you want to be, like you are with your family and friends and your hobbies. I do everything I can to be the person I want to be, to love the people around me and the things I love doing. Don't care about adjusting myself only for snowflake over here, for pumpkin. I have to change my whole life just in this part of my life. No, thank you. I don't care what people who don't fit into my life think. I can respect them, live and let live, do you. But if you're going to do me, you're going to be like me. Anthony, are you obsessed with women? No. Have a look at all the stuff I've been talking about. Lantitus says, when comparing now to back when you were 40 years old, do you find your lack of need for female companionship to be a product of your mental and opinions progression, or just from aging? Probably a combination. I don't know. Not sure. Everyone's loving you here, hamster. So am I, bud. Thanks for dropping in. See, this is the thing. Not just like you see guys that you might respect. You see what a good guy is, how he conducts himself, the respect he shows to other men, like Hamster. But yet he doesn't. He still calls out women. He calls out reality. He wants to be honest. You know, guys respect other guys because it's kind of what we want to be, and we're honest with each other and all that sort of stuff. Be more of that guy. With other men, with women. If they don't like it, bad luck, but associate yourself with these kind of people. Ask yourself why you respect someone like Hamster, which I do too. And that will kind of tell you what your values are. It's like, oh, okay, that's why I like this guy. That's why I like what he says. Yeah, that's why I like, you know, the general vibe of this guy. Start to know yourself in relation to that. Why you like what you like. Why you respect certain guys. Why you don't respect certain women. And start to sort of form how you're going to step in life. James. He said I bought an SM7B. It's a dynamic broadcast dynamic microphone, not a condenser. Because you recommended. Excellent mic, by the way. Used it for 20 years on the radio. Did I recommend it? Yeah, it's one of those. I love the shape of it as well. I normally like them because if there's any dynamic microphones, usually cut out a lot of noise the further away you get from them, whereas ones like this condenser one, they're very, very clear, but they pick up everything. They pick up every little spittle and everything, but you need to tune them in a certain way. But SM7Bs, they're really cool. They're probably one of the best broadcast dynamic microphones you can get as a no-brainer, just to plug in and it sounds great. And especially if you've got like a high sibilance in your voice, like you've got very sharp high end in your frequency range, it smooths it out. It's got a really nice smooth factor in the high end, and it's got a really warm bass. So I'm jealous, man. I haven't got that in my microphone locker, but it is a few $100s though. So it can't just be like this one was a few hundred. This one was my most expensive microphone. So if I'm going to buy it, I'm not just going to use it a bit and then put it away. You know the annoying thing though? The microphone I was using just before this one was probably less than half the price. It's probably like 30% of the price of this one. And I can't tell much of a difference between the two. Also because I adjust my levels and I can actually get them both sounding identical. And so part of me is like, oh, why'd I buy this one? Because I like the look of the cheaper one as well. But part of me has to use it because I paid for it. And it's a good microphone. Anyway. The good thing about this microphone as well is that I can take the windscreen off and I can just magnetically attach a pop filter. So this one's actually really good for noise as well. The noise floor on this is -7 dB, which is almost 0. Whereas I think on the SM7B it's like 17 or 19. But because it's a dynamic... Alright, I'll stop nerding out. Stop mentioning gear and I'll stop talking about it. Mr. Highway says something interesting. He goes, I could never just get over the idea of being out in town and running into other men who have had my girl. Yeah. I mean, it's probably not as bad as if she had a long-term relationship with somebody and you knew about it and you bump into them. But if you keep bumping into people, they're like, oh yeah, I've slept with your girl. Oh yeah, I've slept with your girl. That's start to be a bit embarrassing. Yeah, Lucid Dream MGTOW says, do you know that Pepe Le Pew has cancelled? Yeah, I was actually thinking about doing a video on it, so I may. That's stupid. Lucid Dream MGTOW says, human, you talk to Stardust. Please tell him to try medicinal marijuana for his insomnia problems, please. I think Stardust has tried everything he can for his own problems, and I know for a fact that he doesn't like people offering him advice where he's a very smart guy, and I'm pretty sure he would have tried everything and looked into everything. So I think he's probably tried everything that anyone suggests, and he gets annoyed at people suggesting things to him. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he's looked into it. Almost guaranteed he's looked into everything. He's that kind of person. SMUR asked me, how many women have you slept with? Look, it's different. It's different for guys. Women don't like that because it's harder for us to get a woman and sleep with her. It's easy for a woman to get men. So bragging about that's a different mindset. Be proud of yourself. It's like being proud of yourself for breathing. Scott, did he just say back when you were 40? What? You look like 35. No, it's maybe the camera. I'm nearly 50. All right, let's change gears before it gets too. Oh man, it's 2.5 hours. Great live stream, guys, but I keep getting sidetracked because the questions are so good. Yeah, James says I don't do well with this drama stuff. Yeah, me neither. I don't like drama. Whether it's online or in my personal life. I like smooth sailing, getting along with people, conversations. I don't like debates. I don't like destroying people. I like treating people well. I like having friends. I like having a good sleep pattern. I like a good life. I don't need challenges. What's the saying? I don't plant weeds in my garden just so I can pull them. Non-white knight. Human, your hairstyle has inspired me as my hair is way too thin. I now zero blade. Cut every day both on my face and head. It's a liberating look. It is. When I first started to shave my head, that was the first thing, you know. Simple, minimal. No mess, no fuss. No more shampoo. It's just a very clean look. When I was younger, though, it didn't look good on me. I was very skinny and I looked like I was sick. But when I got older, I started to fill out, and so it suited me. Hamster says, I got some clippers called Circa, not a bad unit. Yeah, I've just got a pair of Wahl that I use. I put it to 0 and every 2 days. I used to shave, but I don't. I think just kind of a little bit of right to the skin, I don't think suits me as much. And I don't like all the nicks you get sometimes if you're in a rush, whereas you can kind of go quickly with a pair of clippers. We are talking about a whole lot of tech today. All right, let's do some questions, comments. Sorry, from the video of women who sleep around a lot. One Alpha Omega said, paying full price for someone's leftovers. I'll pass. And this will be some of the stuff we've already talked about in this stream. Lance says, it's like going out with a community handkerchief. Well, that's the thing too. You are. That's the instinct that a guy feels. It's like you've slept with everyone. I mean, even to a lesser extent, guys, like without being too visual, if you've ever been with a woman who's had kids, and a lot of women who have had kids, the evidence of them have been with somebody else so overtly, so whether it's overtly like that or whether it's figuratively, they've been in the same arena, it's just something that makes the disgust mechanism respond in a guy. Mike says, female speak, you don't know what I've been through. Translation, you don't know what's been through me. Michael says, I think women in general don't lie as much. This is actually an interesting point. I like this. I think women in general don't lie as much as they are just in denial on anything they do that is wrong. Basically, they are built to have excuses rather than just thinking and saying, oh my bad, I have bad morals. Yeah, guys pull each other up on that. We need to be realistic about our morals and how we conduct each other. Women like to excuse each other, so they excuse themselves as a mode of being. So women will lie to themselves and lie to each other. That's their mode. Whereas men don't, or men won't tolerate other men lying because we need each other. You know, you go back to the hunting phase. We need other men to be honest about when they F up, because they need to be part of the hunting tribe. We need to be able to rely on that guy on the left that is looking out as well as the right. When we go to sleep, whoever's up on lookout needs to stay awake. So there's much more reality-based honesty. And if a guy honestly says, like, I screwed up, we give them a chance. But if a woman's always lying, it's like, what chances do you give? Is this the first time she's lied? Is it the second or third? Or is it just because you caught her out? J. Abba says, born again virgins be everywhere. Nando Soup says, I work with a woman that openly talks about her body count with other females. No shame. They don't care. I just ignore them all and do my job. This is the baffling thing to me. Bragging about this stuff, that women, how much lowercase f feminism has imbued itself in their sort of lexicon and their religion, is like they brag about being useless and easy. I can't make a sandwich, LOL. Like, you're bragging about being useless. I've slept with a lot of guys. I'm just liberated. No, you're lazy. That's easy to do. They're not proud of things that are difficult to achieve or a standout of, oh, that's it, admirable. Like, you look at someone who's a bodybuilder. They talk about they're disciplined. You talk to someone who's obviously educated or has read a lot, who is introspective. There's something admirable about having done work and worked on yourself in some way, that you have experience and you can show something. But bragging about being lazy and easy, I don't get it, man. It's just kind of like, how dumb are you? And you want to put these people in charge of companies and countries. Buck Rockgroin says, they're promiscuous, not easy, human. They're only easy if you're Chad. For everyone else, they're a huge pain in the backside. Yep. Yeah, they're promiscuous. Not easy. I was just using a colloquial term. Egerman S says, using my history against me is like robbing a house I used to live in. I don't live there anymore. That's the new mentality these days. He's talking about how women see things. You can't talk about my past or who I slept with. That was me before. That's not me now, so it's irrelevant. Women are like sharks. They're rarely in the present. They are in the present in terms of what they want to feel and what they like feeling, but they're always sharks moving forward. The past doesn't exist for them in any real sense. That's why they get over relationships quickly. That's why they can move on. They're very forward-focused. Again, they don't feel guilt. They only feel shame. And shame could be brought forward in the present and affect their future. But yeah, guilt, the past, women are cauterized in that respect. Well, Shibi says, women are concerned with man's future and men are concerned with a woman's past. Yes, pretty much it. Biology coupled with it, common sense and men's practicality. Yeah, that's the way it is. Rafa K, ladies, your actions become your habits become your character, and your character becomes your destiny. Yes, but in all fairness, let's be fair, it can apply to men too. Guys, your actions become your habits. Have good actions. Have good ethics. Your habits become your character, and your character becomes your destiny. Exactly. Applies to guys too, as it should. All right, where are we? Hit the like button, guys. Hit subscribe, hit the bell icon. Thumbs up, doesn't cost you anything, and it helps out the channel if you like my work, if you like these streams, and I'll keep doing them. Hamster says, because I recommended the Shure SM7B, although you just said that you used one in the past, so I didn't really recommend it. You already knew it was a good mic. Basically, the Shure SM7B, for you guys who want to visualize it, is the microphone that Joe Rogan uses in his podcast, the one that looks like two ice cream cones back to back. It's a really nice, unoffensive looking neutral microphone. I might send him the one I got. I'll give him a discount. You have one of those 57 style microphones before, didn't you? Like the old radio style ones, didn't you? All right, guys, if that's all the questions, we've been going for quite a while. It's nearly going for 3 hours. I usually try and, I want to hit the sweet spot of an hour and a half, but when there's so many really cool questions and so many of you guys are on, I want to keep it going. And you guys seem to appreciate it anyway. I'm just thinking later on, when this stream goes live and people want to rewatch it, most people don't like watching videos more than 10 to 20 minutes long. So when there's a stream, not many people watch the whole thing. There are some that love listening to it on a jog or in a car or on a long trip or in the background. But most people watch YouTube in little chunks of video after video after video. All right, guys, if that's it, thank you very much for joining my midweek stream. That was some really good questions, and I hope we answered and expanded upon a couple of the things I talked about in terms of, does it matter how much a woman is, how many guys a woman has slept with? It's sort of, as far as I can tell, it matters biologically. There's an instinct. We've talked about a few metaphors and analogies, but you can't discount the fact that it really plays a lot and tells you a lot about a person, especially if you want to have kids and have a family. Thanks for the super chat donation. D. Godin, he says, high body count women are emotionally, physically, and psychologically destroyed, and they're owning it. Is the coping mechanism that was sold to them that has lasting value. Then what? Yeah, I think it is. It's probably a coping mechanism. If a woman who has slept around has had that reputation, she's been exposed, and so now she's loud and proud once the cat's out of the basket. So she can't actually lie about it. But as long as a woman can lie about it and it doesn't really get out, she will. But once it can't get out, then she's loud and proud. Thomas says, live stream replays are great for working at home during lockdown. I suppose they're good in that way. Kind of elevator music in the background of me talking. All right, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, share the love. It's free, and I'll catch you on the next video. Have a good week, guys. I'll try and do another stream within the next week and another video in a few days if I can. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.